Welcome, my friends. Another useful lesson for our beginners and intermediates is the blockade in the middle game. What does that mean? Is a pawn which you stop from being pushed because otherwise your opponent will grab more space from you, or they will be activating pieces behind them that are being stopped by that particular pawn. It could be very well a bishop, or simply you're stopping them from pushing the pawn down the board, and you eliminate the danger of, especially if it's a passed pawn, you stop them from promote. So we are going to see tutorials that will be clarifying exactly what I've just said. So let's start with the current position on the board now here. It is black's turn to play, and important for us to understand that let's say our opponent has that bishop on c1, which would be incredibly eager to being active. In order for that bishop, for instance, to be active, they have to push the pawn. So you would like to keep their pieces undeveloped, not active. So you need to stop the pawn from moving down the board. And how do you achieve that? You're going to place your own bishop in front of the y pawn on f4. So the y pawn on f4 can't move down the board. And obviously, if they take, you're going to take back with a queen. Then you're going to get your rooks, perhaps. This rook here, perhaps. And you're going to be claiming the e file for yourselves. So just wanted to clarify the blockade idea and how exactly you're going to achieve that in the next scenario. So now bishop takes, obviously you're going to take back, queen takes back, and that is the position. Black is fine. It doesn't mean now you're winning or your opponent had blundered. No. And you could actually identify perhaps a better square for the knight. Perhaps you would be investigating how to get the knight actually on c4. Maybe you can dance around a little bit. Place yourself in a beautiful outpost, on a beautiful outpost where the knight will not be challenged by another pawn. Just get the rooks over to the e file, and the position again is playable. Your opponent can't use the bishop currently, so they'll need to figure out another way. Okay. Also, they will have to be worrying about the e3 pawn if not makes it on c4. Okay, so if bishop were to move at some point, they have to be careful about the e3 as well. So yeah, there is that thing that when I start talking about a position, I may not be able to stop very quickly. So I need to remind myself to be moving for the next scenario, because if I treat them extensively, it'll be really taking a lot of time. Nevertheless, guys, let's proceed with the next scenario here. Okay, so what are we supposed to be doing? Obviously, oh, by the way, it's important to understand here that black already enjoys to pawns connected, supported by the pieces, and actually black would be very interested in pushing it again. And this is really problematic here, so we mustn't allow this to happen. So we're going to go with the queen right on d4, which makes that bishop to being less active. You don't allow those guys to take in your space, and the situation is very much playable at this stage now. Okay, you might be considering at some point to play a rook maybe on the e file, and this kind of ideas maybe would be practical for you to consider. And important thing, do not allow your opponent to activate their bishop. Blockade them. This one here, by the looks of it, you will be able to actually create this pass pawn to forcing it to moving it down the board one more time, and you actually now will be taking advantage of your pawn and pushing the black pawn one more. But how? Because the white queen understood that. I mean, the opponent having the white pieces understood the idea, and they placed the queen right in front of your pawn. So how do you do that? Well, you're going to be deflecting the queen because you're forking them both now, queen and knight. You're forking with your pawn. Queen has to take, and when the queen takes, there you go, you're going to move, and all of a sudden, beautiful activation. The bishop on g7 now looks along the dark square diagonal, pressurizing the b2, threatening then the rook afterwards. You've got a beautiful battery, queen and rook, supporting this pawn down the board, and that's just great. And you've got the f file open, and very good stuff. Black is very happy to having the current position. Okay, so also, of course, queen being attacked on the e file and can't capture. And this is just great. Absolutely great position to be having in this position here. And so many beautiful threats playing the knight, threatening a lot of good stuff here. I mean, it's looking so good. It's looking so good, and perhaps even more. You can investigate a lot of good stuff here, coming, messing up the pawn structure, and you've got so many good stuff here. So let's look at this position here now. White, I reckon, would like to pushing this guy one more time because actually they'll be having 1, 2, and 3. And actually that would be quite dangerous. Okay, so we mustn't really allow them to push the pawn one more time. Okay, because we're only defending it twice. So we must put a stop to that guy. So we're going to play bishop e7 to d6. We're stopping, we're threatening to capture, and we give them double pawns on the f file. And if they take very well, we're going to take back with a queen. And this is a very important stuff to understand. Do not allow your opponent to activate the bishop and grab space from you, particularly because the rook battery supports indeed the y pawn. So we mustn't allow that to happen. Okay, so just keep this in mind. Important to understand. Blockade in the middle game. Okay, this position now. I think it is obvious if you're looking at the current scenario, it is obvious that black wants to push the pawn from e6 to e5. And this is very problematic because they're going to be playing it with tempo. And then you've got to move away, and then you may have a problem with the fork coming. So this is really problematic. Look how many times. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, whereas you got just 3. And they controlling 4. So you better be careful and put a stop to this guy because that spells trouble. So you're going to play now knight to e5. You're going to stop. If they take, so be it. They're going to take it with an active bishop, which anyway was targeting the h2. And if they take back, you're going to take back. You're going to attack the queen. You're going to threaten to take this knight. Everything is great. Maybe you're going to get rid of the knight. Thus, this guy becomes really, really happy in tandem with the queen. You might be able to create some nice threats here. So all good ideas. Keep this in mind, guys. It looks beautiful. Next one here. So it's important to understand. White had moved on to f3. White would like to actually claim the center, and that would be quite a powerful move that they would be able to play. And, well, we mustn't allow that to happen because they also, this pawn's advancement is supported at the same time by the knight on c3. So understanding that will enable us to capture on c3. So we took here, and when they capture, actually, we're going to be placing a knight beautifully, blocking that pawn's advancement. Therefore, bishop had been reduced to being a little bit of a pawn for the time being, and black is fine. You might be able to play knight d7 to f6, supporting that knight in the position on e4, and that's just great. Next exercise here. This is a delicate situation we've reached here with this tutorial, because if we allow white to capture either of your black pawns here, you may find yourself in an incredibly uncomfortable pin. This is a problem here. So we got to tread very carefully and wisely here. Knowing this, that we don't want to be in a pin, and really with this enormous pressure on the black knight, we'll understand that actually we need to trade the pawns in our own terms. That will be benefit us greatly. So we're going to be taking, prompting them to take back, and now rather than capturing, which would be very bad because then rook takes, and actually you find yourself in a very, very delicate and bad position, do not open the file because it's incredibly critical to understand the file mustn't be open. Keep it closed, guys. There are positions which you would like to keep them closed now. Block the pawn from taking. Don't take it. So push c5 to c4. This guy is blocked currently. Rook can't be active across the d file where the black king is. So it's very good currently to push c5 to c4, which we just did. Okay, so now you got a nice blocking idea. Your rooks are available to be playing. So you might be able to explore more strategical positional ideas. Knight is very beautifully placed. If the bishop takes, obviously you're going to take back, and thank you very much. The position is fine, very much playable, equalish for both colors here. The next position here, guys, let's see. White is enjoying a passed pawn on the d file, d5, to being more precise. It's a passed pawn because there is no other pawn to challenge that white pawn. That's why we call it a passed pawn, and could be and should be practically advanced. Now, we can't advance because the black queen is right, it sits right in front of the pawn. So what do? We try to deflect the queen, moving the queen, determining the black queen to go away, and then we should be able to move this guy, and that would be brilliant because look at the beautiful bishop, sorry guys, targeting the a8 rook right in the corner with massive dominance. So we're going to capture on c5, forcing black to take. Of course, you attack the queen. Queen couldn't have taken because you got a billion pieces defending. Not a billion, but 4 pieces for sure. And after queen took, now we're going to move this pawn forwards, one square that is, and look at the bishop. Rook would have to play, and this is just a great position. White is definitely enjoying space, a pass pawn. You should be going and playing for a win here. It's a great opportunity for you here, guys. So I hope you people understand now the blockade in the middle game, the importance to not allowing your opponent to either activate their pieces, to grabbing space from you, seize more options, and to pushing the pawn in order to promote. And of course, reversely, if you could do that yourselves, that would be even greater. Thank you for watching the video, guys. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, and maybe I'll see you on my next live stream. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.